Hello and welcome to Reflections of Love and Light. For today's show, we have an expert visionary, someone we all know and love. I know I love her, Jackie Dixon.
Oh, what a nice intro, Richard. Thank you. And hello to all my angel whisperers, my AWs out there.
Okay, so let's get started. First question, Jackie, for you is people have asked me a lot about how did this all begin for you? You know, as a child to young adult to how your life is now.
When I first discovered that something was different about me, I was around 5 or 6 years old, and we went to Catholic school. I had to stay after. And I remember looking at one of the sisters, our teacher, and I saw, and a message came to me that her sister wasn't well. I went up to her very innocently and I said, your sister's going to be okay. You're going to drive to see her, take the train, because something's wrong with your car. And I remember her looking at me like I just stabbed her. And it was very uncomfortable, and she got very red in the face, and she said, "Who told you my business?" And I said, "God." I said, "God didn't tell you my business." And I said, "I don't know where it came from. That's where I think it came from, but I know that she's going to be okay, and don't take your car." Well, she left the room and, came back and said that my mother was on her way to come pick me up. Her and my mom were talking. I was sitting back at the desk, and her and my mom were talking. I couldn't hear what they said. My mom picked me up, and we were walking home, and she said, "Jacqueline, you can't always share what you see." I said, "Well, why not?" And she said it in a way that I was in trouble. And I, back then was very sensitive. As a child, always very sensitive anyway. She said, "You just can't tell anybody anything." And I said, "Okay."
With a stern voice?
You can't tell anybody anything. And I said, "Okay." And she said, "People will think you're crazy and you won't be able to go to this school anymore." And I was like, "Okay." So that was on a Friday. So we didn't talk about it all weekend long. And Monday morning I went in. Sister, she wasn't in. So I already knew that, she was visiting with her sister who wasn't well. And when she came in, maybe it was Tuesday or Wednesday, she had called me over. She said, "I don't know how you knew that, but my sister," I got a phone call on Friday that my sister wasn't well. I shouldn't have taken my car to see her because my tires blew, which delayed her trip. She ended up taking the train. She didn't say thank you or anything. She just wanted to tell me that I was right. I don't really know why. And I still didn't understand. I'm only 6. I went home and I was kind of excited and a little bit relieved. And I was like, "Mommy, sister kind of, said what I saw that, came true." Then my mother said again, not to say anything to anyone. So I would get a lot of visitors, I'd call them, at nighttime with spirit. It was almost like these faces or the spirit that would come to me at nighttime were familiar. I wasn't afraid of them, and come to find out it was family members. My mom's mom came to me and I was able to tell her. That's when I knew that I was different. And at first I thought everybody knew this stuff.
Oh, and saw it.
And saw what I saw. My mom, just pretty much, it was almost as if my mother was afraid of me and afraid of what I was going to say. Because I found out later in life, my mother had this too, but she never used it. She thought it was evil and it wasn't good to have. That something would happen to me, so she was always very protective of me anyways. Going through the years, I just wouldn't say anything. I knew when my brothers were going to get in trouble and what they were about to do, and I'd say something to them like, "Don't do this tomorrow because you're going to get in trouble," and they would ignore me or say whatever. One of my brothers used to call me the jinx because he still to this day says I'm a jinx. That hurts, but
so even as you got older, like as young teenager,
he thought whatever I said and it came true, I jinxed him, and that's why it came true.
What about your friends as young adults?
It's funny because the friends that I started hanging around with, it just happened so they were also gifted. They kind of knew things, so we just didn't really even have to talk about it. I had 2 very good friends who also, I call it energy sensitive, that we didn't have to discuss what we had because we just all knew that we had something and we were just different. And then there was a period of my life where I just tried to ignore it altogether because it started to get very scary, and I started to see bad things even with certain people, that I was close to weren't as good as what other people saw. Like I saw evilness in them where they appeared to be very nice. So I get pray a lot. And I've always believed in God, and I've always believed in angels, and I was surrounded with love. I just always felt love from God and the angels more so than my family.
So what took you to now from that point when you didn't want to have anything to do with this?
It started to really open up for me where I couldn't close that door completely. I was about, I guess, 12, 13, and I had that same group of friends that we kind of knew things, and one of the moms who I was very close to and still close to this day knew that her daughter and I had something like this. She took a lot of classes, spiritual classes. She'd come home and teach us some things. And we were bored. We just thought that she was just weird. She would, I know now it's called smudging. She would, and we just thought, oh, she's getting that smelly stuff out before we go out and play. She's putting this all around our body, saying a prayer.
Oh, smudging
is we came back in with the
sage
stick,
and the smoke. Oh, okay.
So, but then I didn't know what that was. Now I do. She would say, learn this particular prayer because this is what's going to protect you, and you have to keep your energy to yourself. And so we did listen, but we still thought she was weird. Like, what is she talking about? When she knew and she saw in us that
what you had, probably.
Yeah. It hasn't always been easy. I think the toughest for me and still today is friendships. Either people will stay far away from me who know what I do, or they'll be very close with me and pretend to be my friend. And I already know who they are, but this is my work, so I still help them. So I've gained a lot of good friends through my gift, and I've lost a lot and have been hurt through my gift.
Yeah, you thought
with
were
friendships.
friends.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
And then discovered that, I knew too much.
So why do you think you were chosen to have this gift?
That's something that I still wonder, and I don't think has ever been answered for me yet. And I know that someday when I meet the Lord, He'll answer that for me, because I don't know. I really don't know.
Another question that a lot of people have asked me before to ask you, or I even heard you say, how do you get these messages? How do you see them?
Everyone's different how I receive the message. Sometimes I'll look at someone and I can see a movie, like a film above their head.
Oh, that's cool.
Of certain things that have happened in their life or something that's about to happen. When I see something that's in the past that's already happened, it comes in black and white. When I see something going to happen, it comes in color. So that's how I can see the difference of what's been in the past and what's going to happen in the future.
Oh, okay.
I see words over their head, on their faces, on their shirt. I'll see objects. Like if I see a clock, I'll know that there's something with time with them. So then I'll look further into the clock, but however this clock appears to me. I've seen like a Godfather clock, a regular clock, a watch, and I read what's in the watch. So I know whatever has to do with time with them, something's time-based. I'll see like triangles, circles, squares. All of those to me mean something different. It's how I interpret what a circle means to me, not what a circle would mean to someone else. So if I see a circle around you, I know that you're put together, and you're well-rounded. That's what I see. If I see an object that's kind of pointy, like an octagon, you have no direction right now. Like you want to go in so many directions. If I see a triangle, that means you have a decision to make. That's your decision. That'd be the one point of the triangle, and then the other two is, the solution, and the other point is don't go there. Like that's not a good decision. So I see hearts, I see colors. I mean, I could go on and on of what I see.
Like a lot of, psychics or mediums see names sometimes. Is that something?
I don't see, like when we were talking about the words of when I see people to connect you with a certain name, I see people that I know. So for instance, if there's a John around you, or if your name is John, I'll see my brother and I'll know, okay, this is, their name is John, or there's somebody around them that's a John. When I see spirit, sometimes I'll see spirit as if they were like you sitting right in front of me and I can see all of you. So sometimes I get confused, and I know you have many stories of that, Richard, with me.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll see a flash of just their face and shoulders. Sometimes I'll see almost like an angel ray of light and be able to see features. And I don't see a face, I just see features. So spirit comes in many different forms for me.
So when you're doing these readings for clients and friends, family, what are some of the most, the questions that a lot of people ask?
The biggest one is, do you see anyone around me? I get that a lot. And sometimes I don't. And I feel bad, and I always say that doesn't mean that your loved one or who you're looking for me to say isn't around you. I just can't see them. It's up to spirit. Not every spirit shows me themselves. And that's why in a reading, somebody will call and say, I don't, first of all, when you call me, I don't want to know anything about you but your first name. And I'll get asked, I want to come to you because I want to talk to my father. I heard that you can see spirit. And I'll just tell them I don't want to disappoint you. I don't always see spirit. If your father comes through, it's a blessing. That doesn't mean, again, that he's not around you. It just means that I don't see him.
Okay. What was your most memorable reading that you have ever given?
Wow. That's so hard to say. I have so many stories. You have to remember, I've been doing this since I've been a little girl, and I've been seeing since I've been little. One that stands out to me, making me cry.
It's okay, take your time.
And she's actually here now, and I feel like you helped me remember her. It's a little girl. I was working for a friend in their salon for a little while for them. It was actually for a friend's friend. And he didn't know what I did for work. I was just kind of filling in, helping him out. The third day working there as the receptionist, I saw a little girl peeking through a curtain. So you had the reception area, then you had, the salon part where, he did haircuts, and there was a curtain there.
Okay.
That she would open up the curtain a little bit and like play peekaboo with me. Now I seen this little girl as if you're sitting right here with me.
Okay.
So I was thinking, oh my gosh, where did this little girl come from? Because I don't always go to, oh, this is spirit.
This is spirit, okay.
She had such a pretty dress on, and I was like, I don't remember him taking anybody back that had a little kid. And it was a little busy back there. So I get up and I'm going back there and I'm searching, and the owner said, what's up? What do you need? And I said, oh, nothing. And I came back and sat down at the desk, and maybe 10 minutes later, I see this same little girl. Now she has balloons. Like in the balloons I see as if they're real balloons. She's holding these 3 balloons. And I'm like, okay, now I get chills like all over me. And that's also a good indication, which we didn't go over yet, of what I get. Physical feelings whenever spirit comes around. And a lot of times it's the chills. So I got like chills just all over me, my hair sticking on end, and I'm like, okay, this is spirit.
Now you know.
Now I knew. So right then I said, okay, I'm really not here to help him. I'm here to help this little girl. Because I'm always led, and I've always been led through my life, through all the jobs that I've had besides this. God has led me to where I'm supposed to be. Every job I've had to help someone with something.
So you think the little girl was at this salon and not leaving, or someone didn't bring her in with them that day?
Know what? No.
Okay.
No. Well, that's hard. Well, let me finish my story.
Okay.
Because it kind of leads to that. I, kind of let it go. I pray for her and say, okay, if you're here and you want to give me a message, you can't play peekaboo with me. I have to know what's going on with you. I'm here to help you. So I kind of say that. And when I say that, I don't say it out loud. It's in my head. Because Spirit can hear you.
Okay.
Absolutely. Spirit can hear me in my head. And I know it sounds nuts maybe to some people, but this is how I get the information. So, and I don't hear anything that day. Next day I go in, there she is again. The owner had said to me, I was in the middle of talking with him, nobody was in the salon. The owner saw me distracted, and I looked over towards the curtain real quick, and it moved a little bit, and he saw it move. So he said to me, what do you see? And I said, I have to tell you something about myself. I said, and this is always hard for me because there's so many skeptics out there and who don't believe. So it was hard for me to let him know, that I could see spirit and what other job that I had, my life job. And he knew I had another business but didn't really ever ask me what it was. I said, well, I said, there's a little girl here. And I mentioned her name, and I'm not going to say her name. He said, what? And I said, well, this is what I do. He said, no, I heard that part. This is what you do. He said, I've never met anyone like you. He said, but you just named the little girl of my client who passed away when she was 3 years old. The dress that she had on, I explained everything, what she looked like, everything, and gave the name. And he was like, turned white as a like, he was like, oh my gosh, you know.
I'm like, oh my God.
And he said, well, what are we supposed to do about this? And I said, I have to help her mom. He said, Jackie, he said, I'm all for you helping this woman. He said, but this is, I think it was about 12 years had passed. He said, she's still not accepting. It's hard for her to talk about. I don't know how you're going to talk with her. And I said, well, I said, I usually leave that up to spirit. And if it's supposed to happen, I said, it will. So I was now there for like a week and a half. In comes the mom. She had an early morning appointment. He never told me who the mom was because I don't like to know anything. He just said that he knew what client it was that I was talking about. The mom came in, and now I got to see this little girl right next to her.
So that's how
I
you
knew,
knew.
and I saw the hearts. So I knew there was a connection. And then I saw like a little bar. The bar went from her arm to her daughter's hand. So I knew there was a connection there, that this was the woman, this was her daughter. I got nervous and I didn't say anything. So the owner came up after, she was getting the color on, and he said, I want you to know. I said, I already know that she's here. And he said, well, how about if I tell her? So it's not coming from you. And I said, okay. So that would be a big help. So I believe he told her, what I saw, and she was just started crying. She came into me in front. She showed me the picture. It was the same dress on that the little girl had on. Now I see the little girl, and she's got the balloons, and she's jumping up and down. So now she's able to give me messages. Okay, so the woman goes back, get her hair, finished rinsing her hair off, and now I'm just writing. It's like the little girl's like whispering in my ear what to write. So she comes back, and I said, when she's all done, she comes in, and I said, I just want to let you know that your little girl said, it's okay, Mommy, I'm okay. It wasn't your fault. And now she's bawling, I'm bawling, and here's this little girl. She's just so happy. She really is, like jumping up and down, just so excited that
She could give that message to her mother.
Yeah. And her mother said, do you know what happened to her? And I said, yeah. I said, she was very sick. I said, and I don't know how much of the story to tell without it being revealed too much.
Yeah, we don't want to tell too much, but
she told me what happened to her, and the mom had blamed herself. Her marriage kind of fell apart 10 years ago, when this happened, 12 years ago before this. And they also had another child. And it was funny that their son that they had never met her and knew of her because of the pictures that were around, but just didn't talk to her about her. They used to have conversations. Since I told the mom, and by this time I think the young boy was 10, I guess, when I had told the mom about the little girl, she believed him, and she's like, it's not like I didn't want to believe my son, but I thought maybe he was just having dreams because there's pictures, and they actually played together, like she's his protecting him, And when you asked me that, Richard, I hadn't felt her or seen her since I worked, and I know that was a big reason why I was guided there, was to help her.
Wow, that's a great story. So that's your most memorable. What would you say? I know you're already emotional, but what would you say was your saddest reading you've ever had to give?
And again, as you're talking, he's here. It's almost like I knew you were going to ask me that question, and he was standing here waiting.
It must be like, even to talk about them, it brings them around. It's almost to be recognized, and
it makes me feel good, but it also, brings me back too.
Yeah.
It feels good that I was able to
Help
help in
him.
some way. This one I don't feel like I've helped fully. Okay. I was talking before about how spirit comes to me in the middle of the night. You know this because sometimes I have to sleep with the light on, but those are questions I wanted to ask you.
So we'll get to those. But
So I was sleeping, and I heard like this whisper in my ear. Woke me up. Someone just call my name. Because even though I have lived with this gift, it's still scary. you know.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
I don't always go to think it's spirit. I thought it was maybe my daughter or my son whispering my name. I don't know. So I fully wake up. I hear it again. Jackie. I said, okay. Turn the light on. And I know that you remember this one. I turned the light on and I said, okay. And I say out loud, how can I help you? He appeared to me. He was stunning, but had very deep blue, sad eyes. And I was like, okay, I already knew the feeling. He gave me the energy of just sadness.
Mm-hmm.
So I really wanted to help him. He said for me to call one of my friends, I don't want to say his name, in the morning because he knew his mom. And he explained to me that his mom owned a shop that a friend of mine frequented. He wanted to give her a message. So I was like, okay. And trust me, they're not always that clear. They come to me in puzzles. I don't know why. You'd think that someone would just say, there's my name, here's my address, here's what I want you to do. It doesn't always happen like that. It's puzzles. Or I have spirit come to me that I don't meet the client for weeks or months or years. But I always remember. Okay, so just so you know, a little glimpse of that. I said, okay, I'll help you. And he had a big box of chocolates with him. And they were the ones with the cherry in the middle. I'm not a big fan of those. So I knew they weren't for me. They were for something else.
Okay.
So he had that in his hand. His other hand, he had one single rose. He just kind of like just disappeared. That's what they do sometimes, just fake, just disappear. So I didn't get too much sleep that night because I was very anxious. You know, it was like 3 a.m. I was anxious. I couldn't wait to call my friend. Thank God that he's an early riser, so I knew I could call him around 8 o'clock. He'd be up. So I call him and I said, this is what happened to me last night. And this is someone who's been there for me through my gift and has always helped, has loved me unconditionally.
Okay.
With my gift or without my gift, or, you know. So a good
one of those good friends that you would
that I
talk about.
have, yeah, loyal, good friends. And I said, this is what happened to me last night, and supposedly you know his mother, and you frequent this shop. And I said the name, or not the name of the shop, but where it was, and it happened to be an antique shop. And he said, oh my gosh, I go in there all the time. I actually talk to the woman. I don't know her. She's not my best friend, you know, but I said, can you give this message? He's like, absolutely. He loves my work. He's like, I'll give whatever message you want to. He's just always there to do that. And I said, okay. I said, have her call me. He said, okay. He went there that day to the shop. He was so excited to give this message that your son came to this woman that she knows, she'd never even heard of me, you know, so this should all work out and pan out. Well, she looked at him and she said, get out of my shop.
Whoa.
And he said, oh, so this isn't you? Maybe I have the wrong person? She goes, oh, no, it's me. But I'm not ready to hear anything he has to say. Oh. So he left. He called me and told me that, and my heart sank. And then I knew why he had like that deep blue eyes of just sunken sadness that I felt. And I have to tell you that he took his own life. I've experienced that pain through spirit and through clients that I've had. And I've only experienced that pain for maybe 2 seconds, which was too long for me. I can't even explain to you the deep, deep sadness that someone has when they don't want to be here anymore.
Hard to put into words, yeah, I'm sure. Oh, wow.
So
the mother didn't want to hear because she was disappointed, angry.
So I'll finish. Hold on. This is...
Oh, no, take your time.
Okay.
Take your time.
And I just want to say this, that there has to be something that we all can do to bring awareness to this. It happens so often. And me with having what I have, I see so many sad people. It's just sad souls. It's the only way I can explain it. And I can't help everyone.
No, it's hard. It's too
So
many.
if there's a way that we could all do something.
I'm sure just saying this and getting this out there is
Yeah.
bringing awareness to it. So, more people will do more that
Yeah.
way.
It's a tough thing anyone has to endure.
Man, I
Not
can't-
only the family, but
I'm just
the
feeling
person
the
going
sadness
through
that through you of what that person felt, and it's wow.
so, okay, I can do this. Okay. You didn't tell me it was going to be this emotional. Hold on.
It's okay.
So about 2 weeks go by,
And the woman called me, and she said that she was ready to come see me. So she was a little nasty, but at this point I didn't care because I knew I had to do this
The
for
message
him.
had to make
So I
you
didn't
that
care
message, yeah.
how she was to me. She came, and I actually gave her 2 hour, like a 2 hour slap. I usually do an hour and 15 minutes or so because it takes about an hour to give a reading. So I said, I'm going to give myself a while. You know, I felt very attached to him already. So I wanted to take my time and see where this went. She came, she sat down, and she said, so what do you want? And I said, I don't want anything. I said, I have to give you a message. And she said, well, what is it? And I said, your son came to me, and he had chocolates. And I said, and they were little cherry chocolates, and he had this sadness in his eyes. And at this point, her son didn't come. You know, thinking, where are you? This woman's nasty. And I say that with love, without any judgment, you know, because I'm seeing now her life, reading her why she's where she's at in some ways. Okay. Asking him, please come, where are you? Where are you? And then all of a sudden he was there. Thank God. But it was probably like 10 seconds, but it was way too long for me. So he comes, and he's got a smile on his face. And the sadness in his eyes kind of dissipated a little bit. It wasn't as deep as I saw before. So now I just see his eyes, his perfect hairdo, like preppy kind of clothes on. He has one rose and the chocolates. I said, he's giving you chocolates and a rose. I said, and when I see roses, it means he loved you. And he's giving me the message that he's sorry. And she said, I don't accept your apology. I won't now, and I won't ever. So if you expect me to forgive you, I never will. I just looked at this woman, and I said, you need to leave. And she said, well, can't you tell me about my business? I came all the way here. And I was thinking, can people be that shallow? I said, the message was from your son. And I started writing. And it happened to be that he was gay. And it was something that she could never accept. And he felt at that time no one could accept him.
Wow. So the mother couldn't accept it, and he couldn't see any other way.
He just wanted permission from his mother and love from his mother.
And he probably thought that she showed up, so maybe...
She definitely thought that. Well, the chocolates, behind the chocolates, because I had asked her, what's the chocolates and the rose bean? And she said, those are my favorite chocolates.
And the rose. You know, Jack.
I don't even know if I want you to air this.
It's okay, Jackie. Okay. What's the rose?
When he passed away a week later, she kept finding roses everywhere.
Oh,
So he wanted to tell her it was him.
it was him. Well, that is sad. All right, so we'll just wrap that one up and just say, how did the reading end? She just wanted to know about her business, and then...
She left. I couldn't tell her anything else. I just said that she needed to leave.
Oh, I would too. I
I
mean,
never heard from her again. This was probably about 10 years ago.
most people wait their entire lives to get a message like that from someone who's
Right.
passed, and she had the chance at it, and just...
And I felt bad for...
The man who sent the message?
He had called me. He's like, how did it go? How did it go? And I said it was off. And I don't think he ever went into her shop again. I never heard of her again. And he never came to me again, except when you're talking about him now. And I see him next to you. And he's just like nodding and giving me that
Does
good
he...
feeling of energy that he's okay.
Oh, good. So he doesn't have this dark,
No.
deep... Oh,
No.
So that's good.
But I wasn't able to ever see him again until now.
Well, maybe
so
he's letting you know that he's okay with what happened, and
I don't know if he'll.
He's
ever
in
be
a good place
He's in a
now.
good place.
yeah,
I feel that more of a peacefulness than I ever did
Good.
before. So
good.
I think maybe you asked the question because
You needed to
I
hear
needed
it.
to know that he was okay. So
Oh, boy. All right. I'm going to give you a little while. Take your time, and then I'll ask a question after. Okay, we're back. Took a little break. We needed that. So let's get right back into it. And next question is, if there was something that you could say to make your life easier with your gift to your friends and family, what would it be?
Not to be afraid of me or what I'm going to say. I'm a good person and I would never hurt you. I feel the messages that come to me are only going to help you. It might be hard to hear a message at first, and I try not to cross that boundary with my friends or my family. I don't always say what I see. If it's something that's...
Which you've told me
I
before.
know that's going to make things better for you.
You've said before that it's hard for you to hold it in, but
Right.
you know that it's just out of respect of your friends.
And most of the time I'm able to hold it in, but there's been times I haven't been able to hold that in.
I'm sure those are the most important ones that they need to hear.
Yeah. But I just don't like when somebody's afraid of me or avoids me. And I know this has got to be hard for everyone else. I mean, I can't even imagine being you, listening to someone like me. Really, like I try and imagine that all the time of being normal, of what my life would be like. I feel like I hold a lot of stress in or things in, and I feel like, and to let people know about their own feelings. Try not to keep everything in. Talk about how you feel. That's the worst for us physically. And I feel that, especially this past year, I've gone through some health issues. You've gone through them with me that I feel are a part of my gift because I keep things in, and it's a lot weighs on me.
Yeah, I'm sure it wears on you, yeah.
So I would
Okay.
say just keep an open mind if you're a client coming in. Keep an open mind. Also look for the fun in it. At the same time, it's very real. So if you're looking for, I always refer to it as a comedy act, or if you're coming to test me, don't come. If you're coming because you want to know answers.
That's aggravating, huh?
Yeah,
To be
it's hard.
tested,
Yeah,
yeah.
and just I get some clients that will say, "Well, how do you know that? Well, how do you know? Like you're coming to me. I get that it's hard for you to imagine someone actually being real, but there are visionaries out there and people like myself. We're real, and I feel that sometimes we get a bad rap for people who are out there that aren't real and
Yeah, there's a lot of them
are
out there
looking
who
for
take
money.
advantage. Yeah.
I've had clients come to me saying, "Do you see blackness around me? How much money do I have to give you in order to get this cloud from over my head?" I'm like, "What? I don't see any cloud over your head." Oh my gosh, I know, I have clients that have paid thousands of dollars who have gone to people who claim they're psychics and have them keep coming back for more, for more, for more.
Wow, that's sad.
It is so sad. So that'd be another thing. If you want to know the truth, and I always say keep an open mind, and you take whatever you want from the reading. I say that a lot, and leave the rest. Don't take anything at all. Make sure you take notes, because a lot of things that I'm about to tell you haven't happened yet. So you're trying to think, oh no, I'm not. Like there's one particular things that happen, or if I'll say, oh, I see a move coming, and it's January, and I'll say, oh my gosh, I see a move coming in March. No, that's not me. I just bought my house. I'm not going anywhere. I'm 30 years into this house, and I'll say, okay, but write this down, keep an open mind, write this down. And this happens all the time. Call me up. March.
I'm moving.
Guess what? And it's always something good. There's always something that good comes out of a reading, always. Even the worst situation that you could imagine always comes out to be so positive, because I have to say, I'm just a messenger. That's all I am. I'm just like any other person out there.
I've heard you say
I
I'm
just
a channel.
have a different job.
I'm just a channel,
Yeah, I'm
a
just-
tunnel for messages.
And that's what I say. I'm just the messenger.
All right, staying along those lines on a lighter note,
Okay.
have you ever done a reading for a famous person, if you can say? Who was it?
Yes, I have, and I continue to do that. I cannot say who it is, just like I couldn't say, and I don't tell anyone who my clients are. I can't reveal that.
That's it? That's all we got? Okay, next question. Are there times when you say to yourself, we are lucky that we don't have this gift that you have?
I guess I don't put it as It's hard for me to answer that question because when I feel that way, I feel like I'm letting God down because He gave this to me. Do I get resentful of it? Sometimes, yes. The normal things that people get to do, I'm envious of. But then God shows me something that the normal, I guess, I don't know how else to, not that I think that I'm way above somebody. I don't mean that when I say normal and different. When I see something that a normal person can't do that I can do, I feel so blessed. So it's as simple as going to the grocery store. I can't just go to the grocery store, get what I need to get, and come home. I'm always meeting someone. I'm always giving a message. It's hard for me not to. I mean, I could close myself off, and say, okay, I'm just going in the store and I do this. Okay, Lord, help me just go in here. I'm just going to get these few things. I got to go because I'm on a time limit. The Lord makes sure I have time. Mm-hmm. So just a simple task of going to the store isn't simple. When I go to the movies, sometimes it's hard to get all the energy in there. The energy of the person who just sat in the seat before me.
Well, I'm sure like if it's
I
a
just
busy
feel
movie.
different emotions, I'll be excited. I can't wait to see the movie because everybody in there is excited.
Is it worse when it's packed? I mean,
Oh gosh, yeah. It's hard to focus. So what I like to do and what helps me, and this just might be a mind thing, I don't know, but I wear a hat and I wear a sweatshirt and I kind of cover myself so I can't feel anything around me. But it takes concentration and work to do that. When I go to concerts, love a country concert any day of the week. So any listeners out there, you got some good deals, hey, we can barter. Because I love me a country concert. It's very hard because I get a lot of energy. I'll look around and I'll say, oh my gosh, that person's drinking too much. They're going to be sick later. Or they're not going to enjoy the concert. So I have to continue to try and stay focused. That's tough. But usually once I get in there and I get my seat, I'm just excited. Everybody's around me is excited. And, I think the tailgating part is the hardest part. But that's the funnest part, but for me it's kind of hard.
well, so once you get inside, it's more like escape.
Yeah, it's a little bit, because that's a release.
Because I've heard you say like there's certain things that you can do that you can escape for a little while.
And we all have those things too, that makes us all equal. We all have our escapes. A big thing, and you didn't ask me this, but I'm just going to say, I love to meditate. That's my time. Sometimes I do a guided meditation CD that helps me. Also, part of my meditation is playing golf. Get me on the golf course. 90% of the time it's only about me. Once in a while I'll get something else that comes in if I'm paired up with someone or a couple.
Oh, I know it's all about you because I'm looking for my ball and you're like sitting in the golf cart. Are you going to help me look for my ball? Or no, just kidding.
So that that's a release. I like the casino, sit me at a card table or a machine to play. I love that. I get some things at the casino, sometimes I'll get numbers. Or I'll whisper in someone's ear at the roulette table, hey, we're just passing by, play 34. And they do, and it comes out. Like, I love doing stuff like that. I can't always, but it happens often. So it's fun. And no, I'm not good at the casino. Sometimes I'll hit, sometimes I won't. If that was the case, that's something true. That somebody always asks.
Oh, yeah, because people ask me, being, husband of you, that... Well, can she predict who's going to win the football game? Or,
And I can, I've been
to a certain extent, but it's not like, okay, the game that's coming up in a month, who the Patriots are playing Green Bay, the score is going to be this, and they're going to win by this many points. It's not
I'll have my friends, I remember last year when a friend of mine said, is the Patriots going to win the Super Bowl? And I was able to let them know, this year, that same friend asked, the Red Sox going to win, and that's my team. And I was like, no, so I don't like to say, I just don't like to say.
No, but it's just funny that people think
we
that
play cards, like
you're a visionary, but you're not Nostradamus.
Right. There's times where I get lucky. Yeah. There is,
Okay, I know you had referred to before about your mom possibly having the gift, so... Other people in your family from the past have this?
Yes, but I'd rather not get into that. Okay. I'd rather not say.
Okay.
But yeah.
So yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Almost done with all the questions I have. I know you have questions for me.
Okay.
Then you can put me on the hot seat. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Can this be taught? Can you be taught to be a visionary?
We all have we all have this gift, yes. Whether we choose to open it or not, we're all at different levels at our gifts. Can you take classes to open it up more? Absolutely, yes. I think it's just up to you to kind of discover what you have or, what you can do. So yeah, I feel like we all have different levels of it. I feel that when people are at a higher level, it's something that you're born with. A lot of times I've had clients who something's happened to them in their life where, this is part of another show too, I think that we're going to be doing is people who have passed and come back in their experiences. And now they're energy sensitive. And when I say, I just want to say this, when I say energy sensitive, that's what I mean for people who have this gift or are able to pick up certain things or read people or spirit comes or you have dreams or visions. We're all capable of doing that. But the most energy sensitive people, like myself, whatever emotion that you're feeling, you have to remember that it's 10 times more than the normal person. So if I'm feeling angry about something and I'm wondering how come Richard isn't as angry as me, and he's like, oh, okay, well, that'll pass. It's because I feel 10 times that emotion because I'm not the normal. So I have to take that into consideration when I'm feeling sad, when I'm getting emotional and being sad about something, and no one else in the room maybe is crying or feels that same way. I have to remember, Jackie, you're sensitive, you're going to feel 10 times more than the normal feeling. And that's even excited or happy too. I've been happy about things. I'm like, oh, I was jumping up. Hey, this. I'm like, oh, nobody else is happy. They're just like, okay, I'm smiling. But so that's a big thing. So I guess the answer is yes, we all have this. We're at different levels. Get some books to see where you're at.
So you could be taught to be stronger.
Yes, absolutely.
Get better with it.
Open it up, yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Be careful what you ask for, because you're asking to open this up.
I see what you're saying.
And all of a sudden, you have spirit sitting at the end of your bed, and it's your grandfather. You might have to change your sheets.
Yeah. I totally understand that. I can relate to that because
you have to take the good with the bad. You always tell me, and I always think about that, Richard, with everything that you've taught me as well. I wouldn't be able to do this work as well as I do. I feel without you. You are a huge part of my work. So supportive.
Oh, thank you. It's very nice.
Really, you're a godsend.
All right. Well, that's all the questions I had and all the questions that I could think of that people
I'm sweating over here. Yay.
have wanted me to ask you or wanted to know.
Okay.
So, my turn to be on the hot seat.
Okay. Now, these are questions that people have come to me and asked about you. And even during a session, they'll say, geez, your husband can't get away with anything. And then, Richard, what do you always say?
Well, I can get away with some stuff, but it's not like, it's partly true. It really is. That I don't really have to get away with anything. We're open with each other, so.
Right. So as long as you don't get into anything.
Yeah.
But
there's been times like, guys ask me to go play golf or something, and I'm like, how do I break this to Jackie and tell her that I want to go play this weekend, but we're supposed to do something, but I want to go play golf, and then you're like, is there something you want to ask me? Or like, no,
but
what are you talking
some of
about?
That too, people could say is just how you are as a partner. A lot of people, partners and relationships, know that you got something on your mind. So
I think it's a little more for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is another one where people have asked me this. I know the answer, of course, but how did you react when Jackie first told you about her gift, and do you remember where you were?
Holy shit. I don't know if I can say that, but yeah, that's pretty much what I said. The story with that one is, I remember we were coming home from a Christmas party for my work.
Okay, first, how long were you together before?
I don't know. Maybe, how long was it?
It was like 2 years. Because I couldn't hold it anymore because I was doing this work.
It was. It wasn't like deep into our. I don't know if that's deep or not, but around 3 years, somewhere in there, I would say. So we're coming home. We come home from the Christmas party. I remember. I'll never forget it. We're sitting down in the living room. You asked me about one of the guys I work with. You started saying things about him that you couldn't know because I never brought it up because it was. I'm not going to talk about some of the stuff that this person was doing. You knew this and that he wasn't being faithful and stuff like that. And And I was like, how could you know that? Well, I wanted to tell you that this is a part of who I am and I know things. Didn't understand it at first. I mean, of course, you heard about Miss Cleo. I never really knew that I never met someone like that before to know and could tell things just by looking at people. Like, I was astonished, I'm amazed. So you told me that, and I instantly believed you right off the bat because there's no way you can know those things. Ever since then, I've never ever doubted a word you say about anything at all. I mean, there's been some
What a
stuff.
relief it was for me to tell you. I mean, I know that's probably listeners are probably like, "Wow, she waited 3 years to tell him that
Yeah,
she
I'm
does
sure
this."
that would-
Because I really liked you, and I didn't want you to fall in love with or fall out of love with.
Right,
You know, I wanted you to get
right.
to know me first, not.
Right, and it was also hard for us to tell my parents. I mean, that was
Yeah.
another step that we had to, a part of our
I
life where
think
we had to
Well, yeah. we
let
did.
people know.
Mm-hmm.
That was the next step, letting our friends know about this. It's been a step by step, letting people know.
So the next question is that I always got to is, what is it like going out to public with me? What is it like, just in general?
It's up and down. It really is. There's times where it's stressful. There's times where, things happen and it's, happy. We're, giving good messages. But like I've said through all these podcasts, there's good, bad, and ugly with everything in life.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. Good is giving the good messages. The bad is seeing bad things and bad people. And I'm not going through it like you are, but I feel, and we're so close that I feel what you feel most of the time. If you're upset, I'm upset. So I'll never forget one time we went out and you saw a person who was, how do I say it, basically not being very good to his children. You told me that the stuff he was doing is like, I wanted to strangle the guy, but how do you have no proof of what this person is doing. What do you say? What do you do? It's frustrating. I was very angry.
We had to leave.
Yeah, so we had to leave. I felt bad leaving those children with that man. You have no proof, so what do you do? So, and then there's good, where you give good messages to people. Just recently, we were in a store, and, to our daughter, like, where'd mom go? Oh, she's in the back talking to somebody again. Oh, okay, all right, so we continue shopping. All right, okay, it's been half an hour now. Me and my daughter go to where she had left her, and we hear sniffling and crying, and there's Jackie talking to a woman in the back of the store, and they're both crying together. And, she ended up helping the lady and, just giving her a message that she needed to hear. So stories like that, that's a good story, that's the good. It's a mixed bag of tricks of how it is. I would definitely have to say I would not change it for the world. I love you and all that you are, so it's us.
It makes me feel bad because sometimes it feels like a burden on me, and I'm here giving you the burden as well, that you have to live through the burden. Like just the party we went to recently.
But it's
you had to leave with me because
That's
I
okay.
couldn't deal with all the emotions and all of everything that was coming at me. And
That's okay though. That's what we are.
mm-hmm.
So
okay, you answered my question. Like some of the, like what you had asked me, what are some of the stories that you have that you went through with me, whatever. What was it like? Because you had mentioned your parents. I'm sure people want to know this. How did your parents take it? How did you tell them?
I don't think they really realized what we were saying when we first said to them what it was that you do or you're able to do with your gifts. So I think over the years it's just been
I
apparent.
think your mom always knew something.
I think my
'Cause
mom kind of is, because there was times where I did stuff in my life and my mother knew what I had done. So
your mom knows things,
Yeah.
but she just does.
yeah, so I think that she can relate, to your gift, somewhat. So
I go to your mom a lot with questions,
yeah,
prayers.
I think it was more
Richard's
my.
mom's very godly.
I think it was more my father that.
I think
was
it's
the one
funny
who-
how, and you left this out, so I'm just going to say it. Richard told them, I have to tell you guys something, but I want you to watch this show first.
Oh yeah,
He said it's The Medium. For all, I'm sure most of my listeners know, because you're into this work, what The Medium show was. And if not,
a show
about,
in the 90s, what 90s 2000.
yeah, the woman knew things, and she worked for a lawyer firm, and she would go
With the
out on
police department,
cases
yeah,
and
yeah.
do similar work like that I do. So Richard thought that would be the easiest way to kind of tell. So
Richard said, call me back after you watch the show. So they watched the show and they called back, and his father's like, what? And Richard says, well, that show you watched, that's Jackie. So his father says, okay. He's like, no, well, that's kind of what Jackie does. Oh, I knew something. I knew something was up. And then his mom was like, okay. And she asked a couple more questions. Where do I get the messages from? And that they loved me and they knew something was different. There were times where I would dream of numbers or, dream something, and your mom would be going look in the dream book and play the numbers, and we'd hit them.
Yeah, my mother had a dream book.
Yeah. Oh, okay. What are the negatives and the positives? I guess you kind of answered that. Okay. This, I don't know if people know, but you're going to know now. Richard has come so far spiritually. He also knows things and can feel energy. Maybe it's because we've been together for so long and you've been wake up in the middle of the night with me. I have to turn the light on. There's times where you have to say go away. Tell me or tell everyone a couple of stories that you've actually been through where you've seen spirit or felt spirit or knew something.
One big one is just, and it happens from time to time at night when we're sleeping, and then I'll awake to someone pulling on me. And I can't describe it any more than as if I was floating and then someone was like pulling me and I'm like sliding off the bed. It's just a weird feeling to feel that. It's like you're not really fully awake, but you're not sleeping either. Mm-hmm. You're in that state, and this happens to you, and it's kind of scary, and your heart starts beating really fast, and you're like, what's going on? Someone's pulling on me.
So when the first time this happened, I was woken, and spirit isn't always nice, and I don't always see good and feel good who come into my house. And I felt very negative, and I was scared, and I was like, go away, turn the light on again, stop bothering me. As soon as that happened, I turned the light off. I was able to go back to sleep, remember? And you said...
Mm-hmm. They left you alone and started bothering me.
Right.
Yeah, that's so the first time it happened.
Yeah. Do you think that you're a good read on people since you've opened your world up to this?
Well, I always considered myself a good judge of character, but yeah, I think that this has opened up a lot more. I mean, spiritually just being, I was never a person who, I would go to church all the time with my mother every Sunday school and, all that, but I didn't know about praying, and you taught me so much with that where it's okay to pray for yourself. The Lord wants you to ask for help and guidance throughout your life. So, that's just something that I've learned to use, the different tools that you've taught me. So opening that up has opened up doors that stuff like where I'm getting pulled and tugged, but on the other end, I'm able to pray and ask for things that, it's okay to do that. So
I want you to tell a story about the police officer that happened to work with you one day while you were doing your job.
I forgot about that. Yeah, I was working and we need police detail. So the officer came and, I was working with him for probably about 4 hours working. And then at the end of the 4-hour shift, I was about to let him go. And I said to him, do you believe in spiritually, psychics, mediums, so on and so forth? And he goes, well, kind of. I've never really been too much into it or anything like that. When I was younger, I kind of, things have happened to me that made me think about it. And I said, oh, okay. And I said to him, well, my wife does this for work. You seem like a person, just every once in a while I get a time where I feel like the person needs guidance, whether it be from Jackie or just to start praying to the Lord or, open themselves up. I'll either give them a card or just let them know what Jackie does and just basically gift them a reading or to talk to Jackie. So I was trying to do this to him, and he's trying to explain what Jackie does, and I started naming names of, she might refer to someone that you used to know, and I was naming names. I can't remember what the names were.
I think it was John.
Yeah, or Joe or something.
No, Joe.
Joe, yeah.
So she might say to you, this is what it was. You said, so she might say to you, your father's near you and his name is Joe.
Yeah.
And then he was like.
And then he gave me a face of
That's my father's
That's my
name.
father's
and he had
name.
passed away, yeah.
Yeah, and he had passed away, so he
So
was
I was
like,
excited, and I'm excited now remembering this.
he was like, whoa, okay, all right.
Because
So
that
he-
was the moment you had, and you
Yeah.
didn't even realize
No.
that it was coming out of your mouth.
no, I didn't.
And then you let him know that he's all around you.
So
you
we
know.
were both like, I mean, after he told me that it was his father that had passed, I was like, whoa. I said, I'm not the one. It's more my wife is the one who does this, and so we were both like laughing, but like,
He needed to hear that message, though. Yeah. And that happens to you. Like, there's a lot of times that's happened.
yeah, from time to time. So.
And I love it because I get to say, okay, see how it feels, to give
Yeah.
a message like that. And it's, it's a good message.
Yeah, both of us wanted to talk to our daughter. I'm sure there's a whole different world of what we do in her eyes. So we're going to ask her some questions just to get her side on things a little. Okay, so let's welcome our daughter to this part of the show. We have some questions for you that people are going to want to know your side of things. Mom had a question, which is, what has your life been like with a mom who is psychically gifted?
Well, it has its perks, but then there's like some bad stuff because I could never really get away with anything. I was always afraid that my mom would know. She would know what I was doing. I couldn't get away with it, so whenever I would want to lie about something, it would always just end up coming out. And then the good stuff is that I always have someone that has my back and that I can learn from her.
Okay.
I don't want you to start crying.
So is that the reason why? Because our daughter is brutally honest with us at
I'm
times.
pretty much straightforward.
So is that the reason why you're,
She always sent
That honest with us?
herself.
yeah, always telling on
Mom, I
herself?
just want to let you know that, I got to tell this story. This is pretty funny. She kept her report card from us, and it had been about a couple weeks, and we were like, where's this report card? And it was the last one, and that one gets mailed out to you.
And whenever I got them at school, I would just throw it away. I wouldn't bring it home like you're supposed to.
So she got this one in the mail and threw it away. I asked her, Alexis,
Yeah, because we were like, what?
where's this report card?
Yeah.
Like,
And I would,
it's summer.
And they would ask me in the morning when I'm about to leave for school, so I could always just be like, I don't know, maybe they haven't sent it yet. I'll ask at school, and then I'd be like, okay, I'm leaving now. Bye.
So she finally says, oh, you guys wouldn't have wanted to see that
Well,
one.
this is after the
Yeah,
next,
there's one that
because I think it
sent-
was the progress report that we
Oh,
were looking
yeah.
for. And then once the report cards came, Alexis like handed in a report card and then to us, and we're like, okay, your progress report says that your grades were this bad. Oh, but your report card and the final grade was better. And then we were like, what happened to the progress report? And Alexis goes,
You wouldn't have liked that.
You wouldn't
Oh,
have
you didn't
wanted
want to see that.
It was way too
I would
bad.
have been in big trouble then. But look at my report card and how great it looks now. Okay.
I was grounded for the whole summer.
yeah.
For
yeah.
most of the summer. But then I wasn't really grounded the first week, though, because I think you guys were just in shock.
Yeah.
That I
We're
did
that honest. Yeah, that was funny.
I remember Alexis has a little bit of this too. It's okay if I share that.
So that's a question like for everyone to know.
Right.
Do you feel, Alexis, Jackie, do you feel that you have,
I feel like I
Yes.
have it in some, like, I'm very energy sensitive. I know that, like, with work and everything. Because just, like, dealing with public people and, like, getting their
you
energy.
feel it more probably just like
yeah,
mom
I feel
does?
it more now, ever since I started working.
Remember Richard when she was about 3?
I don't think it was that young though.
Yeah.
I remember her being,
I
it
don't remember.
was probably 7, I would say, that were in math you're talking about? That
No.
one? Oh, you're talking
no,
about
this is
something
when
different.
we
No,
found
that
out.
was, like, elementary school.
Yeah, when she came in the bedroom in the middle of the night and said, Bobby doesn't want to play with me anymore.
Oh.
And Richard was,
Who's Bobby?
and Alexis said, that's my friend. And she was really upset. And she said, but he's not going to come here anymore because now he's with his dad. And so we had asked her what happened. I guess his father and his father's friend were underneath a tree, and the boy climbed up the tree and he fell, and his father didn't catch him. He was sad. And so he would come to Alexis and play with her. His father obviously passed away. He came to greet him, and he told Alexis that he was going to be okay and that his father loved him and that he was going with his dad now. And remember, Rich, you were like, what? And I was just like, oh boy, it's going to start now.
But the other story I was talking about, the elementary story with the
Oh,
school.
when I could
Math.
do math, like no problem.
So Alexis comes home what was it? She was doing
I was
the
doing
work.
math problem. I was doing the
I was like, how
answers,
did you come up with the answer?
She couldn't.
and I wouldn't know how.
She
I
didn't.
got,
She
like,
couldn't write it out and actually work out the problem. I'm like, well, how did you come up with the answer? And then Alexis is like, well, I just know it. Something's telling me the answer.
And we were like, something or someone. And she was like, well, I hear a man and he just says 32. And I write it down. And like, she was like ace in math. And we were like, something's not right because Alexa's strong suit isn't math.
Yeah, no.
And it's something that, continually Richard had to work with her with. And we had to explain to her that that's a form of cheating, that she has to know how she came up with that answer. And whoever's giving
Yeah.
her this answer has to be sent away with love.
Because you have to
'Cause
learn
they're not
math.
helping her.
And
You
they
have to learn
really
math.
they went away. I don't even remember at all. Like I remember just knowing the answers, but I don't remember somebody telling me. And then I just stink at math again. I don't have help.
So, and there's other really cool stories, but
There's like bad ones though. Well, there's like a good one when I think it was second grade when I told my teacher about the 9/11.
Oh, I don't remember the whole story.
I told her because I said something to her about her being really sad and that
Remember they called
her
us in?
husband
was in the
he
building.
was in the
he was in the plane.
yeah, he was in the plane.
So that I'll tell you that story real quick. We got a call from Alexis' teacher to come in because Alexis wasn't focused. So we go in there and Alexis came in with us. Said, something's going on with Alexis, and the teacher was like, I feel like she's looking through me. Like she just stares at me all day long, doesn't do her work. She's just like looking through me. She asked me if I was sad. She said, I haven't, no, none of the children know this, only staff, that my husband was part of the tragedy of 9/11. Says, I felt that. And Richard and I were at a point like, okay, do we share this with her? We don't want her to think Alexis is crazy on one end, and then we don't want her to bother Alexis either, and everybody know, and, go to Alexis for things. So it was hard, and I asked my angels and guides how to handle it, and I told her, I said, Alexis knows things. This is something that she knows of what happened, and this is the story she told me. And the teacher was just, again, she was like, wow, I didn't tell my students that. They're too young. When the husband came to Alexis, he gave her the message that he'll always be with her. Tell his boys every day that he loves them. So when we were able to give that message, at that time we were all bawling, so that's a part of this too that Alexis was able to share with her. It was, and after that she took a leave of absence, had, another teacher fill in for the rest of the year. And she never bothered Alexis when she came back at the end of the year, say goodbye to her class. But I'll never forget that.
So it's a big difference from how you were little with this, where Grandma kind of was stern with Mom. Don't say that to anybody. The stages of growing, passing it down,
It's okay.
It's
It's
okay.
there, it's real, and
Right,
talk to me.
right. You can talk to me about this. We can talk about it. So
If you had anything in your life negative happen or feel any energy, that you didn't want to feel or scared or anything like that.
Has that ever happened to me?
Yeah. Have you gone through, have you seen spirit? Have you felt it?
I more like feel it, not like spirit or anything. If I saw that, I don't know what I would do if I saw that. I'd be really scared. But like with people, like negative. Well, I was working and this woman came into my line and she was like, oh, I'm in a rush. I need to go and pick up my kids. And then like the first thing that popped into my head was like, oh, you shouldn't be cheating on your husband then. And then I was like, whoa, like where did that come from? I was like, was that me like mixing soap operas with stuff, or was that like, is she actually cheating on her husband? And now every time that I see her, that's all I think about. It's like, I don't know if it's actually true. Like I want my mom to like come to the store and me
to see
show
if you're
her
right.
to see if I was right, because I don't know.
what about your Dexter phase?
Oh, when I got telemarketer calls and then my mom picks up the phone and they ask if we have a home security system and she says yes and answers questions, and I'm just thinking, no, don't answer those, because in Dexter they can track the phone phone call and find our apartment and know where we are, and they could hurt us. And I just snatched the phone from her and I hung up really fast because I didn't want that happening to me. And it's just stuff like that.
And something I asked Dad that a lot of my clients will ask me, or friends, what's it like being out in public with me? Do you have anything that you feel or see? What's
There's
it like?
a lot of staring off into the distance, and then
Oh, that's true.
sometimes you're
'Cause you're
not
reading,
with us.
yeah.
You're not with us, and then we'll
And we have to bring you back to us, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and we'll have to say, I'll be like, Mom, I was like, what are you staring at? What is it? You'll be like hesitant, like to tell us. We want to know too, like what you're thinking, and we can't.
How do you feel when I talk to people that are strangers and I have to tell them things and you're right there?
I'm just used to it by now.
Okay.
I mean, in the beginning, I didn't know, but now that I know, I'm just used to it. So I'd rather you do it because then when you get home, you feel like you should have told them, and that you feel like you didn't finish something,
Mm-hmm.
and then you
So you don't want to do
no.
that half-hour trip to the store sometimes takes us an hour.
No, I get to shop more.
Longer.
I guess the last question for you is, with your friends, do you tell your friends?
Recently, I just told 2 of my friends, and they thought it was like really cool. But sometimes, like, I don't know. Like, it's hard to tell people because I don't know if they're gonna think like, oh, that's not real. I know they'll like it, but then it's hard to tell somebody because I don't want them to think that my mom's crazy because I know she's not. Like, I know it's real, but it's hard to tell somebody that it's real when I don't really know.
Alexis will say, okay, I have a new friend and I want to bring them over, but don't look at them weird.
Yeah,
Don't say anything.
'cause you
don't,
do-
like, she'll
it's-
prep me first. Don't say this. Don't say that. Don't
Because
say
I
this.
like to tell, I have to tell my mom everything about them so she's not surprised. She's like, oh, I didn't know that your friend did this. So I tell them everything. I don't keep anything from my parents because I know it's going to come out sooner or later.
That I read it.
Yeah.
What about the time when you had one of your friends over and I was like, we need to talk about you getting on birth control pill. Remember?
With my friend, you said that?
Yeah, remember? And you were like, oh my gosh. You don't remember? I don't want to say the name of her.
No.
I think, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I
So
don't,
you got so upset with me
yeah, because you just,
because I just blurted it out. But she was able to get on the birth control, and because I saw a baby coming and she was young. So I guess sometimes I just blurt.
So just like with me, it's good and bad to it. All right. Well, thank you, Alexis, for
Thanks,
sharing with
Alexis.
us.
You're
It was nice to have you on the podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you, daughter.
oh, it was nice to be here. It was fun.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to wrap up the show. We learned a lot today. We learned about Jackie's, how it was growing up with her gift, how some of her most memorable readings are. Some good, some crazy ones, some fun, and
And we've
some
learned
good,
about
yeah.
you and what it is to be like to be with me, what your life's like, and with and Alexis.
how some clients and friends and family can make your life easier. So hopefully that helps you. And we got a glimpse into our daughter's life of how it is for her with your gift.
It's basically
So-
the same.
Yeah.
So I would love to get your emails. I'd love to hear feedback again. What you thought of the podcast, any questions that you have, maybe about your gifts, things and stories that have happened to you. My email is spiritualvisionary@yahoo.com.
And the Facebook page is
Spiritual Counseling and Visionary and Divine Gifts.
okay. We also, on the Facebook page, we posted how to get to our YouTube channel, which is where we're going to be having all the podcast shows from now on. It's a lot cheaper to do it on YouTube, we found. And we can also have longer shows, which people have asked for.
Right.
That's probably the way we're going to be doing them from now on.
Thank you for being loyal and listening. And
We've
there's
gotten feedback from people
and there's
face
so
to
many
face.
people that have shared this
Yeah.
and keep sharing.
Yep. Keep sharing on the Facebook page. We need more likes. That's what we love. Likes, shares, and liking the page. Getting
And
people
feedback.
to like the page.
Ask me a question.
So-
That's the fun part of my work. If you're going through something in your life, you don't have to be in front of me. You can email me, of that question, that something that you're going through that you're struggling with, and I'll answer you. I might not be able to answer all the emails on the podcast, but I will
And
answer
respond.
and respond to every email, asking a couple questions.
So send them in. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Have a nice holiday. Remember, greater is He that is in you than he that is in the world. Have a blessed week.